Rabbi David Stav, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
We are entering the day of Tisha B'Av, a very difficult day for the Jewish people throughout the centuries, throughout the generations. And this year it connects to what we are going through, to what we went through on October 7th.
Yeah, it's true. The truth is that the Gemara says, the Medrash says actually, that a day or a period of time when the Jewish boys and girls are getting killed is more difficult to God than the day of the destruction of the temple. We are dealing this year with thousands of lives that were murdered, were massacred, or were sacrificing their lives for the state of Israel, for the IDF. And this year is a difficult year for everybody, but we really believe that the tragedy that occurred to us this year is directly connected to the tragedy of the destruction of the temple. We all know that the biggest sin of the destruction that caused and led to the destruction of the second temple was hatred between Jews. The fact that Jews couldn't get along together, they were fighting one another while the Romans were surrounding us and intending to kill us. And the same thing occurred to us this year. We could debate between ourselves about the separation between men and women in Yom Kippur, in Tel Aviv, or in Simchat Torah, in the dances there. But while we were debating between ourselves about the separation between men and women, the murders of the Hamas were breaking all the fences, all the separations between us and them, and took advantage of that to kill thousands of lives. And I think that today we all are aware of the meaning of what's the price we pay for self-hatred, what the price we pay for the lack of unity between ourselves. And that's today the biggest mission.
And some ask, when is it hatred and when is it disputes, debates? For example, even on the issue of prayers in Tel Aviv, these believe that this was what should be done, others believe the otherwise. And the question is how we don't come back to that same rift in society in the people of Israel, because people have their own ideals, their values. How do we know to put aside the hatred and sometimes debate and talk?
Well, first of all, debates are very, very welcome. We all know that in our Talmud, debates between rabbis was very, very common and was something that we all grew up upon. There's one thing to dispute, to have a dispute, to run a dispute, and there's a second thing to have a rift and hatred. We have no problem with divisions of opinions. We have a big problem with divisions of hearts. And when we see that a dispute, any kind of dispute, causes to hatred, please pull back. And I'm asking everybody, including myself, and we have a lot of expectations of the way the Tel Aviv municipality should run the prayers and should run the dispute about the separation in Tel Aviv. But we said to ourselves, if we see that we cannot avoid dispute and we cannot avoid this situation of clash between groups, so let's pull back, give them the feeling that they won. We don't want to see again the pictures of two groups that each one of them thinks that they are right, but the price will be that all of us will lose.
Now, despite the fact that we're sitting here and with some sort of fear about this rift, there are many things that we all saw throughout the past few months that give us a lot of hope, right?
Right. Well, the truth is that when I need to summarize the last 10 months, in addition to all the tragedies, to the heavy price of hostages and people that were killed and people that were heavily injured, what gives me a bit of comfort is the fact that we see the spirit of the Israeli society, of the vast majority of Israeli society, that shows, even today, 10.5 months after the war broke out, and despite all the scandals and all the criticism on the government, on the army, and other people that could have or should have behaved differently, the spirit of solidarity and responsibility, and people wanted to help each other, it's amazing. And I think the vast majority of the Israeli people say to Hashem Yitbarach, please give a look at us. See how your kids eventually, in the depth of their hearts, they love each other. Please give us redemption.
So with that prayer, we enter Tisha B'Av. Rabbi David Stav, thank you very much.
Shalom, shalom.